Noopept Nasal Spray. I guess I just put this on the back burner. I've been meaning to do a review on Noopept Nasal Spray for quite some time. I got this from a company called Limitless Life Nootropics. I think one of the two companies that are selling this sort of version of Noopept. I think Serotropic was the first to do it. And, a Noopept is basically Noopept powder mixed in some sort of liquid solution to turn it into spray. And then you spray it up your nose in a nasal sprayer like this. You spray it up your nose, and it affects you. Well, the dose on the bottle says 1.5 milligrams per spray, meaning that 1.5 milligrams, each one spray is equivalent to 1.5 milligrams of Noopept. But I found that to be not accurate for me, particularly because of the massive bioavailability of spraying liquid Noopept up your nose. As it turns out, for me, one spray, which says 1.5 milligrams of Noopept, is equivalent to about 6 milligrams of oral Noopept. So 2 sprays of this liquid Noopept is about 12 milligrams of powder Noopept equivalent. And that's my sweet spot, it's 13 milligrams. So I hadn't really figured that out before taking it. So I sprayed it 3 times, still thinking to myself, like, I want to be careful. I know this is probably an easily absorbable administration method like sublingual under the tongue, so I should only take 3 sprays. And I was thinking, like, oh, this is going to be on the low end. As it turns out, though, based on that translation of each spray being about 6 milligrams, it was about 18 to 20 something milligrams in translation in how it affected my brain compared to 18 to 20 milligrams of oral Noopept, which is too high for me because my dose is 12 to 13 milligrams of Noopept. So I took 3 sprays initially, and it totally made me tired. I had a pretty pronounced anxiolytic effect, which was interesting. I kind of wrote it out. I was like, oh, fine. I'm just going to be in very, very calm mode right now. And it was kind of interesting. It was cool. But I was essentially useless productivity-wise. Whereas, if I take 13 milligrams of Noopept, which is my sweet spot, I can then go, it predominantly affects my working memory, so I want to go read a bunch of stuff. And I can do it well and absorb a whole lot of information. I couldn't do that with that dose because it was too much. Then I talked with the founder of the company, and we figured out that one spray is probably about 6 milligrams, at least as it relates to the translation process in me, which means that 2 sprays would therefore theoretically be the best option for me, equaling 12 or 13 milligrams, because that's my sweet spot in oral Noopept. So the next day I took 2 sprays, and it was totally awesome. I got the working memory benefits. It felt even a little more pronounced. It was stimulatory, and I wanted to go and read and absorb information, and I did. I got a lot done that day. I was super productive. It worked out perfectly. So Noopept Nasal Spray is awesome. I mean, it's pretty great. It's a great thing to have in the in the arsenal of Nootropics cabinet, and it worked well for me. But I would urge people, if you're going to get it and try it, to know that the translation is totally different. That if the bottle comes in and says 1.5 milligrams per spray, that does not mean spray it 6 times to get 13 milligrams. It means that that you have to consider the fact that it's liquid and you're putting it up your nose, which means that it's probably much more powerful and much more bioavailable, which means you need less of it. So if you get Noopept Nasal Spray, I would actually start with 1 spray, because if you take Noopept powder, I would suggest people start with 6 milligrams on the low end and then just work your way up, see where you're at. And the same thing with Noopept Nasal Spray. You don't want to take more. You don't want to just spray it 6 times or just go crazy with it. You want to be careful. This is liquid Noopept and it's going up your nose. It's much more bioavailable. So I'd say start with 1 spray, see where you're at, and then go up to 2. Again, the translation being each spray, at least in my own experience, being pretty equivalent effect-wise to 6 milligrams of Noopept. So 2 sprays would end up putting you somewhere around 12 or 13 milligrams of Noopept. Now, Noopept as a powder itself has been rigorously studied. The most available literature is from a woman named Rita, who is a Russian scientist, one of the people who was the co-creator of Noopept. Beyond that, though, there is not much research about Noopept, and there certainly isn't much research about Noopept nasal spray. I don't even think there is any research about Noopept nasal spray. So I mean, like anything that doesn't have research, you want to approach it with caution, no question about it, because there are no studies, at least that I know of nasal spray Noopept. So it's something you probably want to be careful about, and try very little doses and go from there. And just know, have that caveat in your head. There's no studies for this. And the studies behind Noopept by the co-creator never intended for people to interpret them as being similar to Noopept in liquid form. There was no mention of liquid form. They didn't try to make liquid form in the studies that Rita, whoever did, the Russian scientist who's the co-creator of Noopept. And so you're really just going into a place that has no literature behind it. But that's commonplace for us nootropics users, so it isn't terrible, but I think that's just something to keep in mind. So that's my review. I thought it was pretty awesome once I found my dose, and the ratio is one spray is equal to about 6 milligrams, at least in my experience of powdered Noopept. Limitless Life Nootropics is a nootropics powder company that I believe is still out there selling products. So I give them, I give this product like 5 stars. It was awesome. Totally awesome once I found the right dose. If you have not tried the Cortex Nootropic stack, this is our stack. This is our commercial stack that we compete with the mainstream commercial nootropic stacks for. It's a natural nootropic. It contains 2 primary ingredients that make it very powerful: uridine monophosphate and CDP choline. Nootropics do different things. Noopept will help you with your working memory, predominantly. Cortex will help you with working memory, but it'll also help with verbal fluency a lot. And the primary effect from most of Cortex users, to include myself, is a profound sense to get to work. And then when you sit down to work, it's a lot of mental endurance to do work. I think people have a problem doing work, right? That's the thing. If you could solve that, you'd be very productive. People often think it's a moral thing. I'm not productive. I haven't been able to get things done. A lot of the time, it's not you. It strictly is biological. And once you realize you can affect that, you can get a lot done. And that's what we designed Cortex to do. We call it Workhorse for that specific reason. This product is a killer hit out there. Folks are buying multiple bottles at a time, multiple boxes at a time for a few folks who really like it. And it's just been doing incredible out there. Go research it, read the reviews on our website, read about uridine specifically, uridine monophosphate as a nootropic. Read all the positive stuff about it. There are some negative experiences with uridine too. People respond differently to everything. Go read those too. But yeah, secure a bottle of Cortex at the livecortex.com website. That's our website. You are going to love Cortex, our stack. Otherwise, buy a bottle to support the broadcast, our Nootropics channel broadcast. And thanks so much for watching.